You are listening to an episode of The Faithful Sinners.
Welcome, Faithful Sinners. My name is Timothy Baker, and thank you for joining me today for this episode of SINspiration. Today, I would like to talk about being desperate and tired. I reference Psalms 42:1, as the deer pants for the water brooks, so pants my soul for you, O God. Now, the writer in Psalms 42 compares himself to a deer longing for water. The deer is weary and parched out, and all it wants to do is find a stream to drink from. And in a similar way, the psalmist is weary and exhausted from life. I can appreciate and relate to that feeling, but at the same time, the psalmist in the scripture is under pressure, growing tired, but yet his innermost desire is for God. So just like the deer desires water, the psalmist's soul desires the presence of God. And he knows that the solution to his problems is not more accomplishments or more praise. It's spending time in the presence of God. That's probably where I'm finding myself this morning. It was a long weekend, had an opportunity to spend some time with my kids, which is always awesome. But I found myself waking up this morning just literally, emotionally, and mentally exhausted. And ironically, this verse popped up as my devotion for the day. It's amazing how God seems to know exactly where we're at and puts these things in front of us to help us find a way through. Because it's, not wrong for us to have desires and goals in life, but our foremost desire should be for God, because true satisfaction can really only be found in His presence. So if you're like me today, feeling a little desperate for God, that's a good thing. That means you're right where you're supposed to be. I know that in these times of challenge and frustration or just being exhausted, it's a way that I'm being reminded to look up and to rely on the strength that God provides. So today, what I would say to you is take time with Him right now, but then also come up with a plan that helps you to continuously seek God on a daily basis. Because the more you communicate and share, the more you'll see the blessings and His promises come to fruition. So that's my inspiration or SINspiration for you today. I hope that you will share this. And if you are able to go ahead and follow and like us on your favorite social podcast or media stations, that would be greatly appreciated. But please make sure you share so we can all sin better together.
Thank you for listening to this episode of The Faithful Sinners. Make sure to follow us and like us on your favorite podcast or social media site, and also check us out at thefaithfulsinners.com.